Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Cliff News Network, crypto's favorite CNN, and I want to talk to you about Project Red. Normally, I pride myself on getting us quickly through the news. Today is going to be a slower, more methodical discussion. With that said, I want to make a few things clear from the beginning. I am coming to you with this video using nothing but deductive reasoning. I have no inside knowledge whatsoever. Next is, as technical as this may sound, I am here to make a valid argument for what I believe will happen with the red token. Meaning, if what I say is true, then what I conclude may be true. In other words, I am asking to be judged based on the logic I am laying out in front of you and not the outcome, as I have no way to predict the outcome for the red token. It is here that I will attempt to walk you down my path of logic and at every turn provide evidence or my rationale, and then ask you to judge me based on my reasoning. I will say this again. I have no insider knowledge. I am not here to spread FUD. I am speculating, which is something I don't often like to do on such a large scale anyway, and I hope that I'm giving the audience, if nothing else, fodder for a good conversation around the red token. Premise 1, red token supply is 10,000 times smaller than the supply of Cliff. I do not have documentation to back this. It is common knowledge that the red token is expected to have 100 million tokens in supply. Thus, for anyone who has read in, we should be able to agree on this without further documentation. And if we agree with that number, then we're looking at a difference between 1 trillion, that is 1, 3 zeros, 3 zeros, 3 zeros, 3 zeros, and 100 million, which is 100, 3 zeros, 3 zeros. The reason why this matters is because if Red and Cliff reach the same market cap, each red token would be potentially 10,000 times more valuable compared to the Cliff token due to the smaller supply of red. Now, it is here that I will first ask you to agree or disagree. If you don't agree with this stance, you should stop listening, because the rest of my argument is predicated on this fact. Premise 2, the entire 100 million red token supply will not be available at once. It is here that I am quoting from Cliff's Gitbook. The link to this Gitbook is in the notes. Also, you will find a link to a Medium article that I will reference later. It will also be in the notes so that you can read and interpret the data yourself. Do your own research. The Gitbook says, and I quote, "The only way you accrue red for now is by staking Cliff. 40% of the total red supply will be deposited into this pool and earned only within the following year." This article goes on to say that the last 30% of the red supply will be incorporated once the devs have, quote, "showcased a strong incentive for users to yield red." So what does this mean? With 40% of the red supply earmarked for Cliff stakers and 30% of the supply earmarked for the eventual red stakers, no more than 30% of the total supply can be available for purchase as of May 2nd, 2022. Let me know if you agree. If you agree, keep watching. If you don't agree, log off. I also want to point out here that there is a discrepancy between what is written in Gitbook and what's written in Medium with regard to staking Cliff for red and later staking red for red. Medium says that Cliff stakers will earn 35% of the supply and red stakers will earn 45% of the supply. The reason why this is important, Gitbook says that 30% of the supply will be available for sale to the public, or it implies such. But Medium implies that only 20% will be available for the general public. Because I want to see where we will be in the worst case scenario, I'm going to assume that 30% will be available for purchase, meaning more supply will be available for purchase as opposed to less supply. As if my numbers are wrong by assuming more supply will be available, what we will find is the actual outcomes will be more advantageous for us in our investment if I am wrong. So I'd rather err on the side of caution. Premise 3, no more than 37% of the total red supply will be in circulation on May 2nd, 2022. I can say this because as it pertains to the amount of red that Cliff stakers are receiving, the Cliff devs have reported, quote, "The pool drips 62,000 red per day." Now, this datum comes from Gitbook, as no such figure was given in the Medium article. In furtherance of this point, staking began on January 23rd, 2022, at least here in the US. And between January 23rd, 2022 and May 2nd, 2022, there are 101 days, including the 23rd of January and the 2nd of May. The simple math suggests 101 days times 62,000 red equals 6,262,000 red for 101 days from Cliff staking. So to get the total possible number of red tokens available as of May 2nd, we have to take the 6,262,000 red tokens that will have been earned by those of us staking our Cliff for Red, and we will need to add that to the total amount of tokens not earmarked for staking. And again, I'm using the least advantageous number, 30 million. So with the idea that there could be no more than about 6,262,000 tokens in circulation from our staking, and no more than about 30 million tokens that are not earmarked that have been made available to purchase, the total possible circulating supply as of May 2nd, 2022 is roughly 36,262,000. One small housekeeping issue: while it says that we will have 1 year to earn the tokens in the pool in terms of staking Cliff for Red, 62,000 times 365 falls a bit short of either 35% or 40%. Comes to a total of 22,630,000, and I've calculated that it would take 645.16 days to distribute 40 million red tokens to Cliff stakers at the pace of 62,000 tokens per day. Moving along. Premise 4. The Cliff/Red dev team does not have to make all 30 million unearmarked red tokens available on May 2nd, 2022. The argument here is that it is possible that red tokens will be fed slowly to the Uniswap pool, just like they're being fed slowly to the Cliff and eventual red token staking pools at varying speeds. Meaning the contract could be as such where only 1 token is available every day of the possible 30 million in supply. Do I know this to be true? Nope. I'm simply telling you it is possible. Premise 5. It is possible that the beginning circulating supply on May 2nd, 2022 is less than 7 million red tokens. You say, how can I say such a thing? Well, without knowing how many red tokens the devs will make available, nor how many the Cliff stakers will unstake, we can estimate the number of red circulating on May 2nd, 2022 to be between there will be at least 1 token, and 37 million tokens. So I gave you that number that was 36 million some odd. So the range that I feel comfortable projecting that we know we will have a minimum of 1 token and no more than about 37 million tokens as of day 1. If you're curious how I came up with that, stop the video, go back. Every premise, every conclusion feeds to the next premise and conclusion. Premise 6. The value of each red token at Cliff's current market cap is at least 36 cents US. How do you say that? Well, if you look at the approximate 36,262,000 circulating supply that I'm predicting as a max supply, and you look at the current market cap at slightly over $13 million, then you do some division, and what you get is 36 cents per token. I'll move on. My last premise: the value of each red token at Cliff's all-time high market cap is at least $7.83 at minimum. I once again took the total circulating supply estimate of 36,262,000, divided it by 284 million, which was the all-time high posted on December 16, 2021. And that gives us $7.83, of course, US. Couple of caveats. I did not account for buys, sells, or burns. And in fact, I'm not even certain that we will have a burned wallet, although I cannot imagine we would not. This analysis also does not account for how Cliff stakers might not unstake their red right away. So in other words, you staked your Cliff, you've earned red, but you're not ready to put your red into the circulating supply. Check the link above or the link in the description if you are interested in staking your Cliff to earn red token in advance of the launch. I do want to remind you that most red token supply will be available for those who have staked first, who have staked their Cliff to acquire red, and later those of you who will stake your red to acquire additional red tokens. I do apologize for the long format. I think this thing deserves the time I gave it in terms of making sure to be clear and not rush through anything. If you have any questions, or if you are wanting to challenge any of my premises or conclusions, I welcome you. Just leave a comment. I answer every comment. I believe this red token launch will be super bullish. I am very much looking forward to it. And again, these are my thoughts. I am not passing them along as facts or insider information whatsoever. As always, have the best day.